Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back. We're here for another week of Married at First Sight Australia. Can't believe it's week 8. The episodes are in the 30s now. I can't believe we're in the final stretch. This is the final commitment ceremony. This week was also homestays where they go visit each other's homes and family and friends have input in their, I guess, home field advantage. But before we get into that, JR, how are you? How was your week?
A week was fine. Cold weather here as usual. Um, but yeah, very eventful. All good. All good. It flew by.
Yeah, the week did fly by, and my members knew I was doing daily members because I was out of town. I was not in the usual studios, and I had El Cid Traveling Chronicles. Every day was an adventure. Okay. But the members know what I went through. But Atlanta, the airport was 2 hours and 18 minutes standing to get through security.
Wow.
Yeah. And when I was coming back from Texas, from 6 a.m. pickup at the hotel, I was through security and at my gate by 6:38.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a complete difference within 1 week. But we are here, and I talk about that, y'all, because there's someone who has some airport stuff in their homestay. That's why I brought up airport. We're going to see what happened this week in the homestays. We have some revelations with these couples. And that is the first couple that's up. We always do this, y'all, based on how the commitment ceremony runs. And the first couple on the couch, Alyssa and David. Now, we did see they went to Adelaide, okay? And I wanted y'all to see this. This is what greeted David and Alyssa in the airport in Adelaide. Y'all see that? That is a big poster. Alyssa did a campaign for an airline at the airport, and that 3 years ago, and it is still up in the airport. And that's what he saw. He said, I wonder if people are going to bombard us for her autograph. She is a celebrity in her area. Whoo, and there's a lot more about the homestays. Y'all, Alyssa's true colors came out, or I should say her feisty colors came out, where David finally says that he is carrying all the emotional weight. Okay. And Alyssa wants to be able to live in Adelaide when she is time for a family. David is, kind of open to that, but not open to how she speaks to him and treats him. And she called him a weak man because he is not up to her financially. What were your thoughts about Alyssa and David? And please, you go into the interaction about what she had to say about his house, please, because I was hot.
Yeah. Alyssa unraveled. This week, there were some hidden or unaired clips that were shown on social media. And she did not do herself any favors. In fact, when I saw the clips, I was like, Gia and Beck were actually right. She's been performing pretty much the whole relationship. The side of her that we saw on the unaired footage, we have seen nothing like that from her. She was very entitled. She was emasculating him. She was, using lots of swear words and things like that, cuss words at him. And it wasn't as if he'd done anything in particular to warrant that. She was throwing tantrums and he stayed calm the whole time. Every single clip, he was very calm, saying things like, I don't appreciate you talking to me like that. Have some respect, things like that. And I guess a few weeks ago when she admitted that the toxicity that she's used to isn't present in the relationship, we can see that she has a very toxic side to her, which obviously came as a surprise due to the edit she's received so far. But it seems as if David's been going through this for a long time and now is questioning the relationship. And when she raised the issue about the finances, yeah, that was very concerning because he hasn't indicated that he has any problem with the finances. It's just basically whether he matches where she's at. Now, she's a nurse, I think. And the salary that she receives is one thing, but I think she's into other stuff, you know, modeling and things like that, that brings in additional revenue for her. So it wasn't an issue before this week, but all of a sudden now it's something that makes her consider him to be a weak man. And he didn't appreciate that comment at all. I don't think anyone did.
I think it's after she saw how he was living. We didn't see it on the show, but we saw it in exclusive clips that they also visited his home, and she was trashing the place verbally. She was trashing the place verbally. Oh my God, you don't have any blinds on, babe. Oh my gosh, why do you have this here? Oh my gosh, I cannot sleep here. Y'all, in the middle of the night, Alyssa says she cannot sleep in his home and decides to leave. It's not like Love is Blind Ohio, where he didn't have a lock on the door. Okay? It was not up to her standards. She didn't give it even one night. And he is just like, hey, could you calm it down? Could you, and she's like, she doesn't get energy from him, but it's the, as you said, toxicity is what she doesn't get from him. And that's what she wants, a back and forth. And also she was saying, David, well, if you feel like this, well, why don't you speak up? And production shows us he can't get a word in edgewise. But when he tries to say something, she's like, oh my gosh, babe, I can't get a word in edgewise. And we're sitting there looking like, girl, you've been talking for the last 10 minutes.
And going off on him too. So, yeah, he doesn't get the opportunity to convey how he really feels in a manner that she receives. When he does say something, he says it in such a calm demeanor that she kind of belittles it and doesn't take it seriously. So he's not being heard when he does voice the concerns. He wants to articulate himself without raising the temperature in his voice, you know what I'm saying? Like raising the bass. And because, as a guy, someone as big in stature as he is, I'm thinking that he's seeing this erratic nature and he's like, listen, I don't want to make it seem like I'm the big aggressive person and she's going to play victim. She's instigating a lot. She's pushing a lot of buttons. And she has been told already by the experts about the way that she has been communicating with him. And on the couch, they called her out for calling him a weak man. Said it's not good, and they want to know the reasons for that.
Yeah, you're right, because Mr. El Cid is kind of like David, a very big stature and very much aware. If you do elevate, if you do, posture, that it could be seen as, not in a favorable light, like you're coming at your mate or whatnot. But David is also saying that, he wants someone to have a constructive conversation. He's like, I don't mind that you have issues. There are things we need to talk about, but I need it to be constructive. Exactly. That's all he's asking. Can we have a conversation?
Exactly. And it seems as if she's surprised when he says this in front of everybody on the couch, when actually he's been saying it the whole time. She just hasn't been listening. And the way that she communicates obviously isn't conducive to him continuing to open up, because she then turns what he says on its head and tries to go off on him. So yeah, Alyssa, really disappointing, and it made me really question whether the relationship's going to work, because they've been one of the strongest couples according to the edit. And then the other thing is, she came out a couple of weeks ago saying that she thinks David has had a good edit. As it like kind of indicating that we're not seeing the real David. No, we're not seeing the real Alyssa. We haven't seen the real Alyssa the whole time. You've had this image, you curated this image that butter wouldn't melt. And she's also managed to skate under the radar due to the volatility of Gia and Beck and Brooke and Mel, who've kind of taken all of the camera time for their toxic ways. So it's like they haven't really had enough time to get Alyssa's stuff out there. But she's I wouldn't say she's at their level, but she's very close in the way that she behaves.
Oh yeah, she's very close, because the deleted scene, or I should say the unseen footage at his house, was absolutely disrespectful. I would not say that to anybody's house I did not like. I wouldn't. I would not be, especially it's on camera, babe. I want to keep on saying that for her. It's on camera, and you are disrespecting this man. It's like, could you, not wait till after it was given performative, and after seeing the big picture in the airport of the campaign and all that, they were right that she's here for social media fame. She's here to move her social media outside of her hometown of Adelaide. So I'm kind of side-eyeing Alyssa this time, because she really dug into David, and we're like, David has been the most, non-toxic of the dudes. He is just, feeding off of her energy, but not giving her back her energy. And it's like, Alyssa, all her family loves him. And he's sitting there saying, and he's coming to grips with, at what point do I stop giving? Her family and friends see I am wonderful for her. I'm what she needs. But if she doesn't see it, I can't stay in this.
Exactly. And he's beginning to say he's ready to put his foot down. He's at his limit, is what he actually said. Because there's not much more he can take. Like you said, he's been received very warmly by her friends and fam. His friends and fam did have some reservations initially, but they've kind of warmed up to the relationship as well. And I think things like the billboard at the airport, she considers herself to be a mini celebrity pretty much already. So using this show as a vehicle to get more work, more opportunities, acting roles, things like that, that kind of fits her narrative right now. And so it's not good. She doesn't seem like she's genuinely there to make it work with David. I wouldn't be surprised if she pulls the rug from under his feet at the final sermon.
Right. But here at the couch, y'all, they both wrote stay. They're going to stay another week. They're going to learn how to communicate, or look at the missteps that they've made in their communication. And they're going to continue this process. Ouch. That's all I got to say for David. Like, ouch. Put on your bootstraps, please. It ain't going to be easy, smooth sailings.
Oh, buckle up. Put that seatbelt on, because you're in for a wild ride towards the end.
And for those of you who just came in, this is what we mean. This was the photo that greeted them in the airport when they did her home visit. She is in a front and center at their local airport. That is her on a billboard as soon as you come off the plane. So that's why she is a mini celebrity in her part of the country, in Adelaide. And she did this campaign 3 years ago, and it's still up in the airport. So definitely we could see where she's seeing that. Anything else for Alyssa and David?
Not yet, no.
Okay. So let me get to the assets for the next couple on the couch. Rachel and Steven. Y'all, they went to Steven's family home. Let's put it this way. They went fishing. Stephen loved the fact that Rachel was not, icked out about the fishing. She actually caught a fish. He did not that fishing trip. Stephen said on the couch that Rachel is a strong woman. He could see himself falling in love with her. And he knows that if ever, he can't and he needs support from his person, Rachel will be there to support him or, just be there for him. And he doesn't have to worry about that. Now, Rachel started crying, y'all, because remember Rachel in the beginning said she was never told she was beautiful by someone. And she, the last time someone told her that they loved her, okay, was, her last situationship. But the very next day, the guy said he never said that. The guy said he never said that. He doesn't remember saying that. And it was a toxic situationship. So Stephen has to show her that he's not going anywhere. He is falling for her. And, they will, I guess, the families all love them. I could see them actually being together. But Rachel's fear is that she will go back to her home for the time being, and it'll be too much for Stephen, and he would find it easier to just let her go. From what we see of social media, they're still hanging out, okay? They're still, he's visiting the city where she is. I don't know if that means they're still together, but from what I'm seeing on social media, Stephen is still putting forth some kind of effort. What are your thoughts, JR, on Rachel and Stephen and their family visit this week?
The family visit went quite well, considering there is some awkwardness between them still, but they seem very happy. Stephen looked like he was in his element on that boat, and he seemed very excited that Rachel had taken an interest and was enjoying herself in his passion as well. So that brought them closer, and they've been gradually improving their communication, their intimacy, and everything. It's going at a much slower pace than the other couples, but it's still going. And everybody knows the story of the hare and the tortoise. Yeah, that's them. They're the tortoise. So they're just slow and steady at the moment. And a lot of the heat that Rachel was getting involved in with Gia and Beck, that's all gone now at the moment. So they've decided to enjoy each other. And it looks like it could be promising, looking at the social media aspect as well. But then again, I haven't seen too many clips of them together. I've just seen them out individually having fun with other classmates more than anything else.
Oh, I saw them with on like a couple's lunch with Stella and Philip.
I didn't see that.
Okay.
But that's good news.
Yeah. I only saw it that one time, though. Let's not get too excited.
Yeah, but again, Stella and Philip, they're probably the most solid couple. Obviously, they had their issue last week, but we know that from their social media, they are well in an advanced situation in their relationship. So so Rachel and Stephen are hanging out with them, then it looks like they could be the strong quartet that make it.
Yes, hope so. In this week, y'all, Stephen and Rachel both do say that they will stay. They are here for another week. Of course, y'all, after this week, this is the last commitment ceremony. After this week of dates, and we'll tell you all the previews at the end, is going to be wild this week. Y'all think the last week y'all going to relax? You're not. They're going to have a commitment ceremony where they decide if they're going to continue outside the experiment or not. And this week, Rachel and Stephen have decided to stay and continue on the journey. And we shall see. Y'all, this week is going to be a doozy. And members, I have not forgotten you. I know we will have our dinner party. Okay, members, we will have our dinner party. I didn't put it on the schedule, but we're going to have it. So keep watching your posts. So that is Rachel and Stephen. Anything else for Rachel and Stephen? They're pretty much solid and just coasting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing else.
Next up on the couch, who had a seesaw of a homestay? Beck and Danny. Now, Beck and Danny, they went to her home. She has a lovely home. I will say that about Beck. Beck's home was very lovely. They met her dog. Now, I am concerned that all of her sheets and pillows are a tan to complement the dog's fur coat color. I love my dogs, okay? They're tan, but I am not picking out pillows and sheet sets. First of all, my dogs ain't on the bed. I'm not pulling out the colors to match my dog because it's my dog. Not happening, okay? Love my dog. But the dog responded very well to Danny. And, Beck said she needed that. Her dad likes Danny. Everybody likes Danny, but Danny is a slippery fella. I'm sorry. He's a slippery fella because he still ain't say he in love with her. And what tanked it, she says, well, we had a moment talking about our feelings. No, Beck, it's your feelings. You're the one with feelings. And he made a joke. And his joke was, if this don't work out, at least your cousin fancies me. What do you have to say about them this week?
Well, Danny, you need to not, even if that was a joke and you didn't mean it, you cannot say anything like that to Beck. She is too fragile. Her self-confidence and her ability to lose her temper, that's not what you say to Beck. I'm sorry. And he should have known that. He's been in a relationship with her. We only outsiders watching it on an edited show, and we can see that is not the type of something that you say to Beck. Danny is all right. If I know we just spoke about David and Alyssa, and when Alyssa called David a weak man. If Beck called Danny a weak man, I would not have any objections to that. Why? Because he is not keeping it real. I'm sorry. Danny has been on the receiving end of insecurities to start their relationship, which were enough for anyone to walk away from. He stayed there, stuck it out. Then, obviously, they've been intimate and slept together.
He would look traumatized.
Yeah, he was traumatized. Especially after the first time. He was like, oh my goodness, what did I just do? But they've continued to have their relations. And so he's giving her mixed messages because although you can see he is very frustrated at the amount of drama that Beck's been at the center of or caused, he still has, he hasn't, in my opinion, been firm enough by saying, listen, you need to cut all that stuff out and focus on the relationship because I don't find that stuff attractive. Right? He hasn't done that. He stopped short of being so firm and assertive. What he's doing is he's blinking a lot. That's going to save him. That's not going to save you, Danny. Use your word.
Or the stall tactic. What was the question again? What you mean by that?
Or I guess I'm just a crap boyfriend. I knew I was a crap boyfriend. Come on, Danny. Look, man, you're afraid of Beck. Just like Scott's afraid of Gia, you're afraid of Beck. You're afraid of hurting her feelings, and you're afraid of her lashing out on you too. So that's why you need to, really be firm and say, listen, due to the shenanigans for most of this experience, I am struggling to reciprocate the feelings that you have. And I suspect the reason why Beck has those feelings, they're not, I wouldn't say she necessarily wants to have a great relationship. I think she wants to latch onto him and keep him because she's insecure. She doesn't want to leave empty-handed, especially after opening up and being vulnerable and being intimate and all these different things. She wants him for the long haul. So I think there is a opposing stance in a relationship. I think Danny's just trying to make it to the end and just let her down as gracefully as possible.
I think you're right. He's trying to make it to the end. He is trying to backpedal at the right times. But you know where I'm going with this. You know I was coming with a question from the dinner party. Y'all, Danny said, if he moves to Adelaide, he does not feel comfortable moving into Beck's home. Now, y'all, it's a beautiful home. The outside, the backyard, she has a beautiful outside kitchen. It is absolutely gorgeous home inside and out. I will say that about Beck. And so there are two questions. Two things came out of that. At the dinner party, Danny said he is not moving in with Beck. And as a man, he is not going to move in because he'll feel like a bitch if he moved in with a woman. Now, Beck didn't take too kindly to that. And Beck said, well, okay, let's talk about this further the next day. And when he continued to say that, she's like, okay, I'll pay the mortgage, you pay the other bills, and we even, so we good. So Beck is a 50-50 type of lady. What were your thoughts on those two things? Is a man a bitch for moving in with his lady?
Not necessarily. If you have a lady that is not toxic and going to be volatile and weaponize things, it is a major concern of Danny's because despite the house looking beautiful, as you described from the inside and out, I think she said it's a $1.9 million apartment that she has, right? That's not the issue. The problem is if he moved in with her, based on how she's acted throughout the show, she will turn on him. She will flip on him and she will make him feel like a bee, right? And the first thing that happens is he will get kicked out. She'll want her space. You're nothing. You're not paying the bills here. This is my apartment. Get out type thing. That's what he's afraid of. So he's genuinely has a right to be concerned, in my opinion. Now, the fact that she's a 50-50 girl, that's, I don't have a problem with that because she wants to pay her own way. If she can afford a $1.9 million apartment, half them bills, it's better than nothing. So, and ultimately, if everything's in her name in terms of the property and everything, it's still her house. It's not their house. So, yeah, if he does move in and split the cost with her, it saves her 50%.
I think also he had a point. He said, if I have a disagreement with her, if I want to kind of put my foot down and kind of huff and puff because I have a strong stance on this, how do I huff and puff and I'm in her house? And it could be, as you said, it's like she could say, you know what, get the heck out of my house. And how is it going to look? Well, he's like, I pay half the bills. It's my house too. And then she's going to be, your name ain't on the deed. So get the heck out.
Exactly.
It's not necessarily a power dynamic, but as you said, it depends on the other person. It depends on how they're going to respond in an argument. If that's going to be their go-to of this is mine and it's not yours.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
again, we are seeing a dynamic with these ladies who have these beautiful homes, these ladies who have built things on their own, and now they've established roots in their locations. And y'all keep in mind, all the other men at the table agreed with Danny.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen, everybody, Scott,
David,
every man agreed that they were not going to just move into their woman's place.
Yeah. And they all had the same consensus that it would just be too emasculating. Because you have to have one eye on the fact that some of the guys who answered this particular question are in relationships with ladies who are particularly domineering and have displayed toxic tendencies, which is not a good combination. Right. So just as they've seen, the girls turn on each other, they know that in due time they could be next. So, right. They're right to be cautious. And I don't disagree with what they said.
Here's a question: has Danny ever appeared to like Beck?
I think he tolerates Beck, but I don't think he likes Beck. I think he would. You could match him with any of the other brides on the show, and he would basically coast through because he is there to see it to the end of the show, not necessarily whether he likes the person or not.
Right. He will, how can I say, adjust himself, to make it to the end of the line. Though I was looking at if he was matched with Alyssa, I was thinking they could bump heads, but I could see them forming an alliance just to make it to the end and make it look good.
Yeah.
I could see that happening. But again, he's with Beck, and as Lotus Egyptian Flower just said, Daniel will be reminded every month that she pays the mortgage, and it will eat at his mental and masculinity.
Yeah.
Well said.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything else with Beck and Danny that came up other than, clearly he checking out the cousin? Clearly. Because how she checking you out if you ain't checking her out?
Yeah. There was an issue. Apparently, he's been sending messages to other ladies as well. So we'll see. But I definitely think they, I don't think they're going to make it past the end of the show. That's my prediction.
Right. Because how can she say she loved this man and he don't give her anything? She is begging him for just drops of rainwater, to quench her thirst.
That's not true. She's been getting the Danaconda, and she was wild. She was, that's what she wanted.
But that's not going to last.
Well, I'm sure he'll lay pipe, but that doesn't mean he's going to bring any emotional feelings to the table.
Understood. We do know that, based on that kind of fireworks, that people do, do things outside of themselves. But Danny and Beck have decided to stay another week. They will be here for the shenanigans coming up this week. And boy, will there be shenanigans. And we'll talk about it at the end of the show. It is shenanigans. And I'm loving it. I'm loving the actual messiness and drama that's coming up this week. I'm sorry, JR. I know you ain't for that, but I am for this kind of drama next week. Next up on the couch, and I'll talk about them, Chris and Sam. Y'all remember last week Sam said, Chris actually said leave, and Sam was devastated that he put leave. Sam was actually devastated by this. And apparently, Chris is kind of saying that the intimacy wasn't up to par. It wasn't up to snuff. So that kind of gave him the post-nut clarity, and he wasn't really feeling Sam anymore. But here's my thing about Sam, and this is, I'm off of that subject. Here's my thing about, is Sam nitpicking? Because it seems like that Chris was apologetic. It seemed like Chris has, okay, I'm sorry. And then all of a sudden it's like, I feel like you're not sorry enough. I didn't feel like you're sorry. And I'm like, Sam, could we take an apology, even if it's not an apology, like, hey, I don't feel that you felt that apology, but I can't keep on spinning the wheel constantly to keep on hearing you apologize. And then all of a sudden, I understand he's hurt and stuff, but I was getting tired of asking Chris for an apology. He ain't gonna do it. So I was tired of it. What were your sentiment and what you saw with Chris and Sam?
Yeah, so Chris has been hanging around with Gio a lot, and it's definitely showed a side of him that is very catty, almost a variant of Gia's behavior, but just to a lesser extent, because it's not so much causing drama for everybody else. But their relationship has plummeted. What started off probably well and promising, as far as the rest of the group were concerned, there weren't like minor cracks and then it developed into a big chasm. No, this was just all of a sudden things just went very left. Now it seems like Sam has felt like he hasn't been heard or listened to by Chris. Chris has been very much self-centered, focused on what he wants to do, his family, like the children that he's about to be the father of and all that stuff. And there've been some walkouts and some very disrespectful comments from Chris when he's been with Gia on their confessionals towards Sam. And on one of the after show programs, they allowed Sam to see some of this footage. And as you can tell, he was quite hurt by what he had seen Chris say about him. So this relationship's done. I don't know why they're still here. I don't know why Sam's still here. Like last week when Chris said he wanted to leave, they did spend some time together on the homestays, went to the farm and all of that. But again, they sat down and Sam this time decided, it's over. So I'm not sure what they're still doing here. It surely, it's home time for both.
Right. As you said, both of them said leave at the end of this. Only when two people say leave are they allowed to leave the experiment. Last week, it was Chris that said leave, but Sam said stay, and it devastated Sam. And I'm with you, but here's the thing. And this is where I'm side-eyeing Sam. I'm sorry, not our Sam in the on our community wall, but I'm side-eyeing this Sam. I think Sam didn't want Chris to have the last word. Every time we're bringing up the binder, every time I need you to apologize, I just think that Sam didn't want Chris to have the last word. So I'm going to drag you back. We're going to go to the dinner party. We're going to do to all these things. We're going to be back on the couch, even though we gave each other the silent treatment and I left your farm and I could have left the show at that point. I wanted to break up with you. You're not going to break up with me, is what I took from Sam. Now, I ain't saying Chris is any better. I ain't saying Chris really wanted to be with Sam, after this, but I think it was a little bit of vengeful, like, how dare you blindside me on the couch? No, I'm going to break up with you.
To me, it looked like a little bit of that, but it also looked like, to me, Sam wanted to hold Chris accountable in front of the group and in front of the experts for the breakdown of the relationship. And Chris doesn't see the error of his ways and doesn't necessarily take it on board what Sam's trying to tell him. So Sam's attempt to try and get this accountability out of Chris, it's not going to work because he doesn't care. Chris does not care about Sam like that to even, process what he's trying to say. So Sam, sorry, buddy, but, you're going to have to leave there without the accountability that you wanted and just move on, dude, because Chris ain't feeling you. He's feeling Gia more than he's feeling you.
Right. Chris just wants to be one of the girls, one of the toxic twins. Okay. That's all he wants to be. Let's be, Botox beauties. Okay. That's what Chris is into, even though he says, I'm about to be a dad. I just, it was enlightening for me to see Chris on the farm because I really couldn't see Chris on the farm, if you know what I mean. Chris is a little too beautified for me to believe he was a farmer, but it was good to see him in his element on the farm. So,
like I said, Brokeback Mountain. Brokeback Mountain. That's what I look at.
Okay. On that note, we should move to the next couple. Okay. They had another lovely homestay. Philip and Stella, they met up with her friends, that didn't like him from the wedding when he put YouTube and stuff like that in his vows. And he said, I ain't gonna rock the boat because they're cooking for me. And you don't ever talk badly about the people when they're cooking for you. I'm glad Philip understands that. But Phil, at the table, Stella was 100% sure about him, and he was 75%. Nobody was feeling that really. They do appreciate his honesty, but he said, hey, I need to see how does my life fit into her life. Can she fit me into her life here, in her hometown? Because he knows he's more flexible and he's willing to move. At the end of the homestay, he said he was going to move. He gave her the reassurance that she wanted. It's going to take, probably a month or so, but they have a plan to get him there. What were your thoughts on Stella and Philip's homestay?
Yeah, so her friends are at it again. Both the guy and the lady, the clairvoyant or whatever she is. Yeah, listen, they are the ones that will definitely ruin it for Stella if they had the opportunity to. And I'm glad that she's kind of kept them at arm's length. Like, they're not the type of friends where she's checking in with them every day and telling them about her ups and downs with Philip, right? But I'm not sure if they're aware of the contraceptive issue that came up, because they didn't make any reference to it. And how would they, if they're so critical of Philip, how would they have reacted if they had heard her comments about the contraceptives and all that stuff? So that's one. But I think one of the best things about the relationship is they weathered that storm with all of the persuasive, manipulative actions that both of her friends were trying to do to him. Like, he's managed to stay there because he genuinely is interested in Stella, having a relationship with her, building a future with her. And the fact that he's flexible, he's what is he, a fitness influencer type guy. Forget his other occupation, but he's more flexible and he's prepared to move. And it's different, even though there are some guys who have said clearly moving in with the lady would be an emasculating experience and da-da-da. I don't necessarily think that's the case with Philip and Stella. I think their relationship is strong enough where she actually trusts him, she feels comfortable, she feels safe, and vice versa. He feels comfortable and safe with her and is very optimistic. So the same thing doesn't apply with the previous couples that we discussed. So yeah, I still think this couple are the strongest couple so far, and they came in late too, and they're still strong. So yeah, man, this looks like a positive couple for sure.
Now, just so y'all know, Australia, the size of Australia is just a little bit smaller than the entire United States of America, including Alaska. So while some of these folks are talking about moving, they're not just talking about moving from, along the East Coast. This may be coast to coast kind of move. It may be on the other side of the country. So again, this is why these conversations are important, because they are picking up their lives and leaving the friends and everything they've established to another part of the country. And it could be a completely different weather pattern. Okay. Just like northeast is a completely different weather pattern. Some of them are moving to like coastal beach areas that are more warm and, a different, scene, if you will. So definitely Philip made his choice. He is going to move. What we have seen in social media is that they are together. There's an official engagement to make this legal. So they are still building and thriving together in the outside world. So it was no shock that they both said stay at the commitment ceremony. And Philip, the only thing I gotta say is I've been doing these photos for every commitment ceremony, and it seems like you're wearing the same tan pants every single time. Nothing wrong with that. It's just an observation.
There is something wrong with that. Means him not change him clothes too often.
Legally, he can wash it by the next time and just change a shirt.
No, maybe he's one of these guys that like to wear the same pants a few weeks at a time before he washes them. Listen, I can't relate. I can't relate to that, but I will say, that hasn't put her off either. I'm sure she's noticed.
Oh, I'm sure Stella did.
I'm sure Beck and Gia have noticed.
But yes, they are staying, y'all, and they'll be here this week for the shenanigans. Ooh. And last but not least, but the most fireworks tonight. Gia and Scott. Now, y'all, Scott has a nice home, okay? That townhouse is nice, okay? It's not a townhouse, it's an actual house, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's nice. It's on the water. Okay, he has a lovely terrace, glass terrace. You could look out at the boats at the marina. Um, it's a very big area. He has a sectional. It's a beautiful house. Gia's like, oh, my house is cleaner. Oh, why do you have that? And she fixated. The walk-in closet isn't big enough. I have a whole room that's my closet. And she fixated on the fact that he has a pink neck pillow. He said, my friends bought that for me as a, kind of like a gag gift. They got him a pink neck pillow. And he offered, he's like, we can call them right now because you met them. This is what they do. Well, why is it pink? Is it from an ex-girlfriend? Is it ex-girlfriends that left it here? Why is that pink? And he tries everything to lighten the mood, roll on the bed with her to make her laugh and get her off of that. But she just kept on fixating and diminishing his glow. And he said, if I was at Gia's home, I'd never say anything negative because I know what it took, the hard work to get where you are. What were your thoughts this week? Because Scott, I thought we needed the medic. Scott was touching his chest and had to be told to breathe because he was scared to say what he thought about Gia. What were your thoughts about them?
Yeah, again, more Gia insecurity on display. The moment she set foot in that multi-million-dollar pad that he has, she started picking on everything. And there was nothing to pick at. She actually called it untidy and all these different things. It's an immaculate, expensive apartment. There was no crap laying everywhere. It's not like he's got a kid or a dog or anything like that that messed up the place. Looked very spacious. Looked like it's easily somewhere that she could have, stayed and had lots of space to stretch her arms out, put her stuff down. Yeah, but she just wanted to nitpick her way through the homestay at his house. Maybe a bit of jealousy, maybe a bit of insecurity, but definitely a lot of mean-spiritedness. It really puzzles me when you have someone like a Rachel or a Scott or a David who's genuinely excited to have you in their life, right? Having come on the show, found you, they're optimistic, they're happy, they're hoping for the best. And the partner, in this case, Gia, turns around and just wants to shatter their hopes. And she seems to get off on it. And she doesn't have the self-awareness to even realize that it's doing detriment to how he feels about her. Now he's scared to open up, having seen how she explodes on all the other castmates and the things she's probably shared with him in confidence. He's probably like, you know what? This ain't the type of girl to mess with. In fact, I better just walk on eggshells and keep myself to myself because she'll easily spaz out on me too. So Scott is in a very sunken place right now. You can see he's very hurt emotionally because this is where, unfortunately, his weaknesses show up. On the couch, he was pressed by John. And John was like, listen, you need to cut the crap now. You've been coasting and skirting along without saying too much, but we know you're going through it with Gia.
John said the 4-letter F word, y'all being fake.
Exactly. You're going through it with her. We can blatantly see you're tormented a lot of the time. And you come into the commit me's and sit down on the couch and pretend that everything's fine when it isn't. Now is your chance to say your piece about how you're feeling and how Gia makes you feel and what can she do to address it. And even still, he was terrified.
They said petrified. You
Petrified,
look petrified,
yeah.
Scott. You look petrified. I'm like, daggone it. What have y'all been seeing? What have y'all been seeing that he looked petrified? He said the pressure to say that he loves her.
Exactly, because again, if this is the situation, if he says he loves her, then that means he loves the toxicity and all the other crazy antics that she's bringing. And it's a way of, it's like condoning it, giving it a green light, when really it needs to be stopped. So what he hasn't done, I mean, I don't think he should put a condition on it. I'm going to tell you I love you if you stop being so aggressive and hostile to the other members of the group. No, I don't think he needs to do that. But what he needs to firmly say is, listen, you might think this behavior is cute, but it's not. It's harming our relationship. I can't open up to you. I don't feel like we can have fun anymore. And you basically pick apart everything you can that seems to bring him a level of joy. But yet you expect him to say that he loves you and that he's going to come into your life and, be a family with you and your daughter and all the rest of it. Everybody seems to like Scott. And he's defended her at times as well when she has been under fire. Even though she's got herself into a lot of these predicaments, he's defended her and stuck by her. But as a consequence, because he's stuck by her, now he can't put his foot down because he's afraid.
Well, she called him a bum, said he's not a man, that he's not a provider. And this is the look on everybody's face around the room when she said that. When he told us that she said that. At the bottom there, the kiss is when they went back to the couch with everybody else, and she was not feeling giving him a kiss. This is how she stayed the whole time, and he had to kiss her. She was not feeling it. Scott knew deep down inside, when he get back to the apartment, he gonna get it.
Oh yeah.
He knew. Get it.
He knew. And that's where the fear factor is. He can't speak up because the moment he speaks up, then she turns on him and says, you weak bee, you ain't no man, you ain't no provider, you ain't taking care of me, this, that, the other. And he doesn't like being on the receiving end of that.
But she said that she has been sweeping her feelings under the rug. And I'm like, are you serious? We have seen you very vocal, ma'am. Ain't no way. She ripped up the letter.
Exactly. She ripped up the letter. She didn't want to accept any feedback, but she voices how she feels. Even on the couch, she was voicing her opinion. And like you said, she called him a bum and weak and all the rest of it. That's how she felt. So she's got no problem expressing how she feels, and she's got no problem hurting his feelings in the process. So again, Gia, for someone that says she doesn't have time for drama because she's a mum, she is at the center of all of the drama. She creates it. She orchestrates other people to create it so she can sit back and watch. And all the while she's doing that, she's being neglectful to Scott in the relationship. Why? Because her performative nature of wanting to keep up appearances. Yeah, because this is what it's about for Gia. It's about wanting to appear to be the best or Ken and Barbie type couple. No, it's not going to happen when you are trying to sabotage other people's relationships. You're self-sabotaging your own relationship, and you're also hurting the person that you want to be with.
Now, she tried to clean it up a little bit by saying, well, I told him I loved him first. I told him yesterday I love him, and he hasn't said it. And the expert, Alessandra, was right. She said, so why would you attack a man that you're in love with? I said, boom, thank you. Somebody is cutting through the bull that Gia is trying to serve up. She said, why would you attack a man you're in love with? That don't sound right. And they have to tell her, you need to check yourself. If you think that you're hurt by someone, the immediate response is to hurt them back.
Exactly.
So high school.
And that's the thing. Scott hasn't intentionally set out to hurt her, but she has been willing to hurt him at every opportunity. So I'm glad the experts called her out. But this is the thing. She doesn't like feedback. She doesn't like being put on the spot about her behaviors and the things she says. And that's why, like I said, she tore up the note in the feedback week. She didn't want to participate in the couples swap. Yeah, she hid. She didn't want to hear what Danny had to say. And now on the couch with the experts, you can see by the look on her face, the moment she starts twitching, you can see she's thinking nefarious thoughts about the situation. So, yeah, Scott, you should have ran a long time ago, but, I hope he does find the strength to get away from that relationship, because Gia is not in it for Scott. She told him she loved him as a manipulation tactic to keep him there, because she knows that he's the type of person that does have feelings and does really like her. But saying that she loves him and then attacking him, you know, personally multiple times, you know, that's not love.
Well, they both decide to stay, y'all. Okay, they both decide. Look at Scott's face, y'all. He looks tortured.
He's terrified.
Okay, he looks tortured.
He's about
sitting
to be
here.
tortured. He's about to be barbecued on as soon as he comes off.
As soon as they get back to the apartment, he's about to be skewered. You're right. He's about to be, and that's why he knows. That's why he was on camera trying to be like, "You okay? You okay?" and try to kiss her and kind of like reduce. But she's like, the fire is burning hot, and he about to get it.
Right, and this is why after the show they had to move Scott away for his own protection.
Yep.
Because what Gia wanted to do was go after him for what transpired on the show, where he opened up about his real feeling, and he was pressed. It wasn't like he was forthcoming. They were trying to get it out of him because they can see he's tormented, and because he started to expose and expound on his feelings, and they were obviously putting Gia in a negative light on TV, she was livid. So it wasn't safe for Scott to be alone with her after that, and that's why the production stepped in and kept them apart and everything. And also on social media, that's why she's been saying things like, he ghosted me after the show, so that's why we broke up. Yes, he kind of did ghost you because it was for his own safety and his own good. The production, the other members of the staff, the cast, they all wanted to protect him from what you were going to do to him in retaliation.
Oh yeah, everybody knew. And again, she has been going on radio show after radio show. She has been going after him because she has a new beau. She had a birthday party. Beck was there. Juliet was not invited. But again, she went after him.
Well,
and
Juliet was invited initially, but then when
disinvited.
But then, then Gia said that she's invited Beck, and she doesn't think it's a good idea for Juliet to be there, so she was disinvited. So that caused now a rift between Juliet and Gia, because now Juliet's feeling like, oh, I was used. Yes, you were.
Right, you were.
And you were complicit in being mean and horrible anyway, because that's who you are. But you thought you had an ally in Gia. People only started to realize that Gia is the puppet master, and she is at the center of a lot of stuff. You know, she's got her allies, Chris, Juliet at the time, and
Brooke,
even at times
Rebecca.
Brooke before she left, Rebecca, and Beck
Mel.
at times, because Beck is so desperate to be liked that she will, you know, attend the birthday party despite all of the stuff that's transpired between them the whole season. It's very performative. And it's like they hate each other, but they want to fake friend each other to stay in each other's good books.
Just so y'all can remember, these are the people on my side here. They wrote leave and they have left the experiment just for us to remember who was here, y'all, because couples come and go. Then these on the bottom in front of us, they are still in the process. Now here, well, of course, Chris and Sam just said leave today, both of them, so they will not be here next week. Here's the thing, y'all. We found out that Brooke lost her job.
Yep.
We found out that Beck lost her job. And we found out Gia, too, through social media, lost their jobs.
Yep.
It is serious, y'all. The behavior pattern. And here's where it gets wilder. On social media, they're also saying that the management companies that usually manages the cast after the show usually puts them, you know, on campaigns and schedules them for interviews and basically catapult their social media. They want nothing to do with the cast.
Nothing.
Nobody.
Nothing.
Nobody on cast. The behavior, they said, is deplorable.
Yeah. They don't want to attach themselves. They don't want to attach themselves to these people because they didn't exemplify what they wanted the show to be about. Of course, they want some drama. They want a level of entertainment for the fans. Or, you know, some people tune in for the drama. Some people tune in for the matches to see who works out. But the production company was so disgusted with the behavior this season. They were like, as soon as this season's done, that's it. None of these people are getting no shine, no rub, no career boost, nothing. They're gonna have to do it all themselves. And that 15 seconds is gonna finish pretty quickly, and we're not gonna help them.
It's gonna fizzle all the way out.
Mhm.
Fizzle. They want nothing. And I was like, well, at least it's, Rachel and Steven, maybe Philip and Stella, maybe eventually when everything calms down, but they want nothing to do. And that's the difference between the social media engine of the US versus Australia, because I think the US would still use this to their advantage.
Mhm.
We have a saying, all press is good press, and they
Yeah.
may view it as that in the US, but Australia ain't having it. We are not going to condone this behavior. Ain't none of y'all. I just want to see how they're going to navigate having jobs and propelling their careers and stuff. Here's my thing. Yes, people go on social media. Yes, people go on these shows. I don't think it should affect their ability to make a living. It may not be through social media, but I do hope that they can kind of, wash this off and go on and still have a career. Because I think this is just a flashpoint. This is an edited, produced show. People are edited to be the villain or the darling. As we saw, Alyssa was the darling most of it. And now we see her rear up, and she's still the Princess of Adelaide. I mean, we have seen that. I don't think the show should, impact their ability to make a normal living. Not social media, but be able to go into a company, interview, and get a job. And that's why I don't want people to go after them on their social media at all, please.
Right. I'm of a slightly different view. I feel like, the jobs that they lost, they were existing jobs that they had. And those, just like the production wanted to wash their hands of them after the show finished, their employers saw their behavior, saw the negative social media backlash. Gia turned off her social media, probably the comments and stuff, because she's getting a lot of heat. She's been identified as one of the most villainous contestants on any reality TV dating show. Yes. So I think their employers just said, no, we don't want the backlash. We don't want the negative press. We don't want the association. We don't want paps outside the office. We got to let these people go. Now, in terms of finding future opportunities, that's going to be on them. When they appeared on the TV show, they shouldn't have allowed the opportunity to get to their heads to the point where they could act the way they acted and think there would be no consequences. Right? Yes, it's a TV show. Yes, it's edited, but you're still giving them the material. And a lot of the incidents that were featured revolved around 4 particular brides and their behavior towards each other. And it was a mutual dislike. In fact, it was 3-on-1 at certain times, but Beck was giving as good as she got. So it's unfortunate, but at the same time, I'm not surprised, because in this day and age, the vetting process to get a job is not what it was 3 or 5 years ago. Now they're looking at your social media.
Right.
Now they're looking at your internet presence. Now they're looking at your personality.
Now they're making a whole new one.
Exactly, making you do personality tests and all these different things to try and see if you're the right employee to take into the, bring into the company. And with behaviors that are going out to the whole of Australia and, to the States, to the UK. This is a mini, how can I put it? A mini exercise in trying to brand manage. Just like these contestants are thinking about how to build their brand, their employers are thinking about how do we grow as a company. We're not going to grow with all this negative publicity. So one of the things I think they would have to do is capitalize on the times that the show is being aired globally. Like in the UK, I think the airing started 2 weeks ago. So they were week 2 now.
Y'all are behind.
Yeah, but it's intentional.
We are 2 seasons behind.
Yeah, but it's intentional. The UK want to start deliberately later due to, other shows that they have on TV and things like that.
Right.
But they also want to kind of preview the show as well to see what is worth airing and what is not. So what these contestants have the opportunity to do is kind of ingratiate themselves to the UK audience and ahead of time. Yep. And try and get out there and do some media and all the rest of it. Other than that, 15 seconds is going to fizzle very quickly. And if they don't try and apologize or mitigate some of the damages, then this is what they're going to be known for. Exactly how we saw them on the show.
And without a management company behind you, without that
willing
kind
to
of
touch
engine,
them.
you got to clean this up all yourself. That's going to be some heavy lifting.
The crazy part is Beck apparently had a PR agent.
Yes, she did. The entire time she had PR. Do we need the name of that PR because the person didn't help Beck at all.
Did they have much choice? She probably intimidated them too.
Probably did. But y'all, for next week, here's the exciting thing for next week. Now, last season, they gave everybody the opportunity to have lunch with someone who could have been their partner on the show. So it's like how we have, Gia and Scott. Well, before we picked Scott for Gia, there was another guy that was a close contender. So last season, they gave people the option to go to lunch with the other prospect. Some people chose not to go. Some people did choose to go. And that alone flared up the other party. Well, this year, we are having lunch as a group with what do they call it? The alternative match. They are all having lunch as a group with their alternative matches. So the ladies will be having lunch somewhere and the men will be having lunch somewhere, and they're all together as a group. It's not one-on-one like last time. And it's not optional. You have to sit there and have lunch with your alternative match. Yes, Tiffany Tech, I am excited for next week because it's going to be wild. And y'all, here's the wild part. It's not just that's wild. Tiffany, you saw it. What's wild is that they are going to be showing people the footage of their spouse's behavior on these lunch dates. I'm telling you, it's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. Members, because it will be so wild, please watch out. I may post and say, let's go hang out and watch it together. Go ahead, JR.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. I can already say from what I've seen of the previews, let's just say not everybody is comfortable with attending, but it's going to be very interesting because those that do attend, you're going to see how quickly they switch up on these partners that they've pretended to love. You're going to see how quick they start to trash them and fling the dirt and, expose confidential stuff to these people that they've just known for 5 seconds.
One man said, don't be touching on me because my wife ain't going to like it. These ladies came in hot, and some of the men too came in hot. She's like, I can't be with a man that isn't going to pay for everything. He's like, well, we could get married right now. She's like, where do I sign? Y'all, it's going to be wicked. And let's just say one of the grooms throws the tablet because he did not like what he saw and said it's disgusting. And it's not like they're on a one-on-one date. This is in a room full of other people. It's in a room with the other contestants and the other alternative matches. It's going to be wild. And then that dinner party afterwards is going to be wicked. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. And the other thing is, I don't think that they were told that the footage will be reviewed by their partners prior to them going on these meetings. So they went there not expecting their partners to know what was going to be said. So yeah, it's going to be crazy.
And this is right before commitment ceremony time.
Yeah. The final week, the final ceremony. And now you're going to hear how the person really talks about you and what they think about you when they have another opportunity presented.
With their alternative match. I'm telling you, I am excited. Y'all could tell in my voice. The last time it was a choice, and I thought that was a good option to see who's inquisitive or not. But this time, and the footage, because we didn't have people seeing people's application footage before, so they are stepping it up a notch. Now, before we close, I don't know if this is the last season, but this was the last commitment couch for Married at First Sight Australia, that Mel Schilling, the expert, y'all, I have a post about it. She did pass away from her battle with cancer. She leaves her husband and her daughter, and this will be the last time we see her on the couch, giving great advice, pushing these couples to do better. This will be the last time we see her for here. I don't know if UK season was filmed with her, so that's why I said I don't know if this is the last we will see of Mel, but Mel has been awesome. She has always brought some fire to the commitment ceremonies.
I think she has been one of the more direct experts. She's appeared on the Maths UK and the Maths Australia franchises, and obviously she was going through this battle with very few people knowing, and then it was only a few weeks ago that she said that this would be her last time on the couch, and then subsequently she revealed her battle with cancer, and then very soon after that she'd passed away. So yeah, like, her presence will be missed. You know, the show has had this format for quite some time, and the other experts have worked with her for quite some time, and they're quite devastated about it. Obviously, it's a loss to their team, and they'll obviously be thinking, how can we continue the franchise with such a big personality missing, missing from their cast going forward. So yeah, it's very sad to hear, and I hope that her words of encouragement to some of the couples resonate more now that she's no longer here.
Right. So agree. I hope her words do resonate. That was well said. Because, she has been the anchor for, as you said, the UK and Australia. And y'all, for her to be flying back and forth while, battling an illness and still keeping up with her family is truly a testament to the strong woman that she, was, and, can still ripple effect to this day. Cause, I know I watch Wilco's Rehashed, and he calls her 2 shillings, and it's always fun and lively, but she definitely was very much showing people the mirror that they needed in order to get themselves back on track, or to see exactly how they present themselves. So definitely, yes. Wonderful lady. May she rest in peace, and her contribution will continue on. And though people say, her shoes are way, too big to be filled, I don't want people to see anyone who's coming up as a replacement for Mel Schilling. There is no replacement for Mel Schilling. What there can be is, going in a different direction, someone who will bring their own flair and advice to the couch that certainly can benefit future couples. But definitely, y'all, this is going to be a fun week. Please make sure that you hit that like button here and on JRX TV. In a little while, I am going to be doing Love is Blind Sweden. We had a wedding. And, I'm going to cover that with my panel. But JRX TV, tell the people where they could find you. What are you up to?
Yo, I'm JRX TV on IG. That's Instagram. JRX TV on TikTok, and Life is Reality on YouTube. So check me out. There's only a week to go of this long and lengthy season of maths, but we made it. We can see the finish line in sight. So yeah, if you want to catch up on any of our previous episodes, check out our previous videos out, mine and Elsie's channels, and hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell to get notified when we're about to go live. And thank you, Elsie, for the
no problem.
opportunity once again.
I can't believe it's been 2 months. This is week 8. Can't believe it's been. I can't believe it. It's 30
It's dragged
something
on.
episodes.
It's dragged on, but there has been so much drama in the, it started very early, and all throughout it's been constant. Every week there's been some fireworks or another. So
Yes.
glad
Well,
to get to the end.
We're glad y'all enjoy it. As I said, I cover Love is Blind Sweden. This week we also is going to be I'm going to have a private birthday celebration with the members, and on Friday at 5 p.m. EST will be the public birthday celebration. So please make sure your notifications are on. I do watch the dinner parties on another platform with the members, so we can have our own ding 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 and have dinner is served. Also this week, Trey and I, because y'all like our talking about nerd stuff, we're going to start Game of Thrones season 1 conversation. If you have questions, if you've never watched Game of Thrones and don't understand why the heck people like these dragons so much, we will answer all of your questions. There's no question that will be left unanswered. So Love is Blind Sweden, Game of Thrones this week, birthday celebration. We have a lot to go and do this week. So I look forward to seeing all of you. Thank you again, JR. We're in the final stretch, the final countdown. But
Yes,
as I
indeed.
always, yes, we are. As I always say, y'all, I will see you on the next one.